Hey guys, and welcome to another Factorio Friday Facts discussion, and I am joined again today by Scarhoof.
Hello, everyone.
And today we are going over what I consider a pretty exciting one. It's just titled The GUI Update Part 1, except I think that title actually does not give it enough credit. This is very, very interesting. This specifically goes over the train GUI updates that will be coming in the future, and they're pretty darn awesome if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
So a long time ago in Friday Facts 191, this is Twinson writing this. He wrote about the improving the GUI. Things are finally starting to move, so this week I'll bring you an update on that. We even have a GUI team. So it's him, Albert, which is their main graphics guy, and then our seating, which is, he does programming, internals, all the optimizations and stuff. So the plan is to go through the entire game's GUI, including main menu, all entity GUIs, and all game windows, and improve it both visually and interaction-wise. This is quite a huge undertaking, which I would imagine there's a lot of
Oh, yeah.
little windows and stuff in the game.
I was surprised when I read 120 windows to go through in the game. That's a lot of windows.
Yeah, I wouldn't, like, off the top of my head, I can think of maybe like 20.
Uh-huh.
But
Yep.
yeah, I guess there's ones you just don't think of. So yeah, there's 120. Factorio's interactions are quite complex. Mods can change many aspects, which is true. If you have one that increases inventory size or has
Mhm.
assemblers with more slots or more module slots, like they say here.
Recipes with 20 ingredients. That's just nuts.
Yeah, thank you, Bob's Mods. So many players are already used to interacting with the game in a specific way, so any major changes are hard to make. Our GUI backend, heavily modified a GUI, is not exactly well written, programmer friendly, or feature rich. So I'm not sure. Maybe they're just gonna are they gonna maybe just rewrite the whole thing? It kind of sounds like.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah. And then many of the features and polishing we want to add were not done previously due to their programming complexity. So at the moment, we're still in the early stages, just defining style and concepts. During the next months, I'll try to make a series of Friday Facts talking about the improvements they're making. Everything I mentioned in Friday Facts 191 will be here, but we have even more cool improvements coming to the toolbar that we are working on. So today I'll talk about something else, the new train locomotive GUI. So, disclaimers. Everything you see are mock-ups by Albert and not from the game, but we'll try to make them almost identical. The style, colors, and look is not final. They're still experimenting, and the purpose of these mock-ups are mostly to define the layout and interaction.
Now, is it me, or does the map itself look different?
It's different. It's not
Okay.
just you. It may
Okay.
be something. I think it may be something with the new terrain, because they're redoing terrain in 016.
Oh, yeah. Actually, now that you mention it, if you look at the train in the background, that's not desert, and that's not anything we've seen before.
No, it's different. Like on the map, that's not a desert color
Yeah.
either.
Yeah, maybe this is what desert's turning into, which honestly, I'm getting kind of sick of the garish yellow color.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah,
It is
I'll take this muted whatever this is, cream, yellowish cream kind of thing. I'll take it.
Oh yeah, definitely. So this is how the new locomotive GUI will look. As you notice, apart from the style changes, they want the way the stations and conditions are shown is very different, but I'd say more intuitive, informative, and easy to use. So there's a lot of info here. And at first glance, when I first saw this, I was like,
What?
Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah, that was my first inclination. I was like, oh, great. We have to learn a new system.
Yeah, I was like, well, this looks odd.
Mm-hmm.
But once we go through it, I like it more and more.
Yeah, so my first inclination is that the little buttons at the top are too small. And that just might be my aging eyes. They're a little irritated by it, but I hope that they increase the size of the buttons, because that's one of the things I really like about Factorio now is all the UI elements are easy to grab and click on.
Yeah, and I would agree. And it's not my eyes because I'm still fairly young, but yeah, if you look, like I'm looking over where the thing where you add the station and the fuel icon button, and then if I look up to the small ones, I have to change how my eyes focus because they're that much smaller. I think increasing them by maybe 1.5 times or something would be
Yeah,
really
I think
good.
in general you want most of your buttons or your tabs and stuff to all be about the same size, because otherwise, I mean, if you look at your X over on the right hand side actually looks a little bit visually larger than your color picker.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the buttons themselves are probably the same size, but they're definitely smaller than like the time and the fuel buttons over on the left.
Yeah, exactly. That's
So,
a
and
good
then on
point.
top of that, the automatic manual thing seems really tiny because I don't know about you, but I click that thing constantly.
Yeah, I clicked that a lot too. That could probably be made bigger.
Yeah, I mean, chances are when you open up a train GUI, that's like 40% chance you're going to be going for that one button.
Yeah, definitely. That is true. That's a good point. I didn't really notice, but now that you pointed out, it's kind of bugging me.
Yeah, yeah, and it's always been one of the irritations for me is that button is one of the most used buttons when you open up the train GUI, and it's not always the most intuitive place to grab it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's a little thin, so it's easy to miss. I don't know. I would personally love some sort of a hotkey. So as long as you have a train GUI open, you can just hit the hotkey, and it would automatically change the automatic manual.
Oh God, that would be so nice. That would actually
Uh
be
huh.
super cool. Yeah, that would be perfect. Actually, just a hotkey.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, that's a really good idea. So let's go through a short use case. You click add station, a list of stations appears. You can add a station by clicking on a station list, and this is where it gets really cool, or by clicking it in the small map.
Yeah, I like that one because sometimes people are just more visual.
Yeah,
Sometimes you don't remember what the thing is called, or like in our playthrough of Platform 9 6/8, it's we don't always know what the station names are, but you know where they are located,
yeah,
so you can just click
exactly.
on them.
That's a good example. Yeah, so, and then on top of that, the map can be zoomed and moved around so you can easily find your station. Also, as you hover over a station in the list, the map will show their location,
Oh, that's
which
nice. I
is
like that.
super cool. So if we scroll
Uh-huh.
down, the stations marked differently are unreachable from the train's current position. This way, you can more easily recognize and possibly ignore stations outside the current network.
Yeah,
So
I like that one. That one's really slick.
yeah, exactly. So in this screenshot where it's mousing over station one, you can see it's highlighted, and it changes it. And then once you click a station, it's added to the schedule along with a default condition. You can continue adding more stations or add edit conditions for the new station. Uh,
So already they are saving us some clicks because previously you had to select the station and then you had to go to the new GUI, go down halfway through the
down, yeah.
GUI and then add in your condition. By default, it's got a minimum of 15 seconds. Like that's just awesome.
Right, exactly, which is really nice. And you can just change it or get rid of it as they show on this next picture. Uh, so, it's just like a drop down, it looks like.
Hmm.
And then you click it and you're good to go. Uh, so that's really nice. And then, obviously it shows even further. So, like if you want a or condition, cargo greater than or less than, scrolling down here further, they show that, speed module greater than, whatever. And there's a little scroll bar to choose an amount,
Uh-huh.
which,
So my complaint about this one here, the one where we're seeing like the production tab,
mhm,
your tabs for your for like your main inventory and the tabs for this should be on the same side
the same
because right
plane.
now
Yeah.
our production tabs are across the top, right, in our inventory, and this way they're on the side. So as long as they make them consistent from user interface to interface, I have no problem with that. But right now, going from like having your tabs across the top to the tabs on the left, that's gonna throw people off a lot.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, it will. Um, and then on top of that, this is another thing. I think the little scrolly thing for the number could be bigger. It's like tiny.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep. Yet again, they just need to increase the size of all these elements
Yeah.
just a little bit.
Although I'm sure you can type in here too, which honestly would probably just be easier in
Right.
anyway. But
And that brings me to another one of my irritations. When you open up an interface that includes a number to type, I personally think that just you should be able to just start typing a number and it should default to that text box.
oh, instead of having to like click in the box.
Yeah, so like for instance, you click on an inserter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you say you've hooked the inserter into the logistics network, and then you say that if our blue chips are less than, and then you click on that little space, and you're going to type in a number, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to say 100. You have to click in that number, but you have to click in that little box in order to type the 100. But nothing else in that interface uses numbers. So by once you have that interface open, you should be able to just type in 100 and it will automatically put those numbers into that slot.
That is true. I think currently though, I think you can still pull things from your toolbar with the numbers while you're in a GUI. So that may
Oh
be why
yeah,
they do
see,
it.
and that I can understand why that wouldn't work, but like I would love to have certain places
Yeah.
just automatic, like search bar too. If you open up your inventory, I would love to be able to just start typing a word, and it automatically puts that word into the search bar without having to actually click into the search GUI.
That is true. Yeah, definitely. So then scrolling down, and this is really cool. So finally, a schedule can look something like this. The path of the train will be shown, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, this is really cool. I like that.
We will try to paint the path the train is taking at the moment. It will change as the train takes different paths. I think this is so huge.
That's just so awesome. Oh yeah.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is
And being able to see them as like, maybe you're trying to figure out how to optimize something a certain way, being able to see how the train chooses one way or another might really help people understand how the trains work a little bit better.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and just visually seeing just like it's just so much easier when you're just like, okay, send from this station to this station, and you can just look and be like, oh, okay, well, this station's here, and it's going this way, which is just instantly like so much more information than we're given right now.
Oh yeah. And I think we've all had that time where you set up a train and you tell it to go somewhere and you think it's just going to head south, but then it goes north for some reason and it takes like the ridiculously long way around.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to just see that before you send the train on its way, you'd be like, oh, I'm missing like a single piece of track, and that's why it's taking the long way around.
Right.
You'll be able to hopefully notice those and correct them earlier.
Yeah, definitely. And a side note that has nothing to do with the GUI, but I'm noticing in this map they have like a major train deadlock here. I don't know whose map this was, but they have some issues going on. Just a quick note. So then the fuel can be accessed from the separate tab, and the color of the locomotive can be changed using the color picker, which I think is...
I am so glad that we now have a color picker built into the game.
But I think it's just like, I don't think it's any different. Like by the looks of it, you still just set the RGB colors.
Oh.
Like if you scroll down right to the next picture.
Yeah. So
I think the color picture is just literally an icon. I don't think it's actually
just an icon. Picker. Okay, that's too bad. Because I would love to be able to click on the little color picker and then click on the little like the copper ore over there, and it just assigns like the copper color to your train.
Yeah, that would be really nice, wouldn't it?
Nice.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. So just going over the rest of these icons, the buttons on the top of the map from left to right are as follows. Turn station names on or off. Change the angle of the station names. Switch to map view. Switch to camera view. And center view on train. Which is really nice, especially...
Did they say from left to right? Turn station names on or off? Isn't the first one the color? Oh, they're talking about moving past the color
past
picker.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so that's really, really nice. Being able to change the names, like the angle of the names in here is super cool as well. I mean, I know you can do that now, but you can't toggle it within the train viewer.
Right.
And then the small info box you see on the right will be a help button we will use throughout the game to help explain how different GUIs work and what their elements mean. We will write more about this in some of the next Friday facts. So yeah, the color thing, it's still the same. I feel like you said, it would be really cool if it was actually a picker. And then on top of this, something I saw someone mention in the forum discussion for this, which is a really good idea, which I mean I've wanted for a while and then like forgot about and didn't remember until I saw their thing, is it would be awesome if you could save a color and then just apply it. Like I know you can copy paste from train to train or station to train, but it's like, if I want a copper ore color, I can save the RGB code of that or whatever as copper and then just apply it.
Yeah, and just give us like 7 slots underneath here as like saves or something like that. 7 or 8 slots would be perfect. It wouldn't really, you would only see it when you actually click on the color picker thing. It would be fantastic. Yeah, because right now I have to like go out to map view, zoom over to the other side of the map, find a copper train that's not moving. color it, and then on top of that, if you paste that onto another train,
Yeah, it pastes
then you've just copied
yeah.
all the settings, right? So you have to paste it onto like a train station, and then from the train station onto the locomotive.
Yeah, or somehow remember the code, the
Uh
RGB
huh.
code. So I would actually say, out of everything gone over in here and all of our suggestions, I'd say that's almost my top one because
Oh
it's
yeah,
just it'd be
I would
so
use
nice.
that a lot. Hmm.
Yeah.
Or again, just let us choose something inside the game,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that too. Both would be
with a
great.
color picker.
Yeah. So going a bit further, we also want to add a neat tool for advanced players. Control clicking on any point on the locomotive's map or any station will add a temporary stop to its schedule. The train will try to go as close as it can to that point, wait a few seconds, finally automatically remove the temporary stop from its schedule. This is very useful for quick transportation. It also allows you to quickly hijack an existing train and use it to get somewhere since the temporary stop will be deleted and the train's normal schedule will be resumed. And this
I
is,
love
yeah,
this
I
feature.
love this so
So
much.
awesome.
This is so nice.
Uh huh.
Yeah,
Yep. There's countless times when you're like running, you're chasing down the train. You're 1,000 blocks from your base.
mhm.
You see a train whiz by, so you quickly jump into map view. You grab it. You have to hit manual to stop it. And then you have to race to catch up to it.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and
This
then
will be nice.
in addition to that, it's like if I hop in a train or something, right, and I want to go somewhere that's like not in the station list, like now I would have to manually drive there, and especially if I have to go through junctions and stuff, that's a whole nother problem. But now I
Mm-hmm.
can just like zoom out in the map view of the GUI and just be like,
You click
boom,
it
I want to
and
go
you go.
here, and then it just goes.
Yep. Yeah. Because driving manual trains, as much fun as it is to watch you guys destroy your trains,
Yeah.
it's and you'll still have that option, right? If
Hmm.
you just want to derp around, but like once you have a sufficiently sizable network, you really cannot easily manually drive a train on your network anymore.
Yeah, it's just too crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another huge thing. So then another quality of life improvements will be a game option to automatically add some fuel from the player inventory when building vehicles, car, tank, or locomotive, making rail transportation as simple as possible. Or simple as placing a locomotive on a rail, entering it, and control clicking where you want to go. And that is also huge.
Yeah, that's really nice. That is like halfway to what's the one where you automatically put ammo into your turrets?
Autofill, I think.
Yeah, autofill. That's like halfway to autofill. So
Yeah, like if you're manually placing trains down, it becomes quite tiresome to open every single. Well, you don't have to. You can control click it, but still, to grab the
right.
fuel from your inventory and control click onto every single locomotive
Mm-hmm.
and stuff, and try to evenly distribute it. So that's really, really
Yep.
huge.
Yeah. Well, there's I'm not like a user interface expert, but I do kind of geek out on some of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I play on a Mac, as most people who watch me know. And one of the things that Apple is meticulous about, I mean, you could gripe about their overpriced stuff, hardware, and everything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their closed environment. But one of the things that Apple really is tries to be meticulous about is they try to reduce the number of clicks for any given action. So they'll look at it as an interface and they'll really try to think, how can we accomplish a task that 90% of our users are going to need with a single click rather than three or four clicks,
Right, right.
right? And this just reduced your clicks by like 4 or 5, because right now you have a locomotive in your inventory. You place it down and it automatically gets filled. Previously, you would have to place it down, hit Q to drop it out of your hand, hit Q again, or hit E to open up your inventory, another click to grab out the stuff, another click or another click with to E to close your inventory, and then a control click onto the thing. I mean, that's like 5 or 6 clicks that it's saving you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's
Little things like that add up a lot over time, and they do make a big difference.
yeah, really, really, they do. Definitely. So then to close this out, we hope you like the proposed changes. No doubt things will change as we implement and playtest these changes, but we thought it would be interesting to show you an early preview. And in this is what I find really interesting too. Finally, the $1,000,000 question is, when will this be in the game? Because it's quite a bit of work. We already pushed the GUI update to 0.17. On the bright side, this means 0.16 will come a bit sooner. So,
Yep.
2 things I get from this. Number 1, damn it, we're going to have to wait even longer for this.
Yep.
But then 2, and I'm not I thought I was crazy, but I saw a lot of people in the Reddit discussion mentioning this too. is I could have sworn previously multiple times they said the 0.16, the stable version of 0.16 would become the 1.0 version.
Uh-huh. Yep,
This
I
no
remember
longer
that
seems
too.
true, or maybe I'm reading too much into it, and maybe this just means the next version. Maybe I don't know, but
Yeah,
there was never a mention of 0.17 until now.
right. Right. Then again, we also don't always know their roadmap, and I understand that it's difficult for them to give too much information away because then people put expectations on things,
Mm-hmm.
right? So maybe internal they always planned on having an alpha 17 out, and then alpha 17 was actually going to become it or something like that, but they've just decided to split it into two smaller updates rather than one big update.
Which
I
I
mean,
think is good.
for all we know, the timeline itself for official release may not have actually changed. You know,
True.
they're putting out 16 and 17 as two smaller updates rather than one big 16 update. So who knows?
Yeah, exactly. But I think this is, I mean, it's a little disappointing we have to wait this long for it. But the good news is we get 16 a bit sooner, which is great because it's already
Right.
been like, what, 5 or 6 months since 15.
Yep.
And
Yep. And that's what I got from this was that we should hopefully have 16 pretty quick because that means that they've already stopped feature additions to Alpha 16.
yeah, I mean,
So it sounds like we should hopefully see that pretty soon.
hopefully. I mean, to my knowledge, the terrain the terrain rework is pretty much done. And
Mhm.
the artillery train, the last Friday facts, they said it was beginning to be worked on and stuff like that. And they've shown some other improvements. So hopefully there's not too much left to do for 16.
Yep.
So yeah, hopefully we can expect that. I mean, I still think it's going to be like 2 more months maybe.
Oh yeah, it'll still probably be a couple months
But
realistically because they have to show us more of the features and stuff like that. So
right, but at least at this rate, maybe it won't be like next March or something until
right,
16.
exactly.
So yeah, overall, really exciting Friday facts. Tons of great information. I love these ones with like tons of pictures too.
Oh yeah,
It's just so great. So really, really well done here. Super exciting. I would love to. Well, we would love to hear your thoughts in the comments about all this. I'm sure you guys have a lot of great suggestions and thoughts, opinions for all this as well. But overall, I'd say really, really good improvement.
yep. I'm excited.
Super excited too. So there you go, guys. I believe that'll do it. You have any last thoughts?
Nope.
All right. As always, thanks for watching and leave your thoughts below. As always, and until next time, we will catch you later.
See ya.